Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to know if you can hear me okay. Just a little yes in the chat would help, so I know that my microphone is working, because I have this tendency to leave myself on mute, and I don't want that to happen. Yes, we can hear you. Tika is not joining us today. She had to take her husband into an oncologist for a 4-hour appointment this morning. So she will not be with us, which is unfortunately. But Ledley here is with us in the chat. So Ledley is part of our team as well. And of course, she's from the Philippines. So if you have any questions or anything, Ledley may or may not be able to help you. But between the two of us, we should be able to handle everything. So I'm just checking in the chat to see where everyone is from this morning. Chile, Kentucky. So, Nene, what's the temperature in Kentucky? Here it is 34 degrees Celsius and 2 degrees, 34 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius. So it's not exactly warm here either. Rancho Cordova, California. Hi, Jackie. And Sheila from Georgetown. Jackie, yes, Sheila, yes, can hear you. Just a minute, I'm just scrolling through the chats here. Bowling Green area, yeah. Nice, and yes, very chilly. Good morning from Rancho Cucamonga, Southern California. Barbara, you're not affected by the fires at all? I'm not too sure where Cucamonga is, whether it's near the fire part. We just hear all the news about all the destruction, so we just hope anybody that here from Southern California are all safe. Western Washington State, 29. Oh, you're colder than we are here in Vancouver. It was 20 this morning. Oh my gosh, that's cold. Tiffany, okay, 42, Alabama. But that seems cold for Alabama. All right, I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds. As this is a webinar, I want to know how many people are here for the first time, have first time attending one of our webinars. I know we've had a lot of registrations from the Creative Scrapbooker magazine, and I just want to know who is here. Yep, good morning, Amy. Very cold. Yeah, for Tiffany, yes, it would be for you, very cold. So anyone here new? Because that determines how fast I'm going to go through our PowerPoint PowerPoint right now. All this comes up in as an evergreen. Tonawanda, New York. 1 degree here now in Columbus, Ohio. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we are hitting the throes of winter. As I went for a walk yesterday, about 3:30 so along the seawall in Vancouver, all along by Sunset Beach. Of course, the daffodils are all blooming. If you go down a little further, the cherry trees are out in full bloom. They are really mistaken. They've come out way too early. Been able to watch the replays before. Oh, okay, Jackie, I'm glad to see you here. Judy, hello from Louisiana. Good morning from Southern California. That's Betsy. Wow, we have a lot of people in here this morning. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go through my PowerPoint right now. And what we want to do here is just give you a lay of the land of exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm just going to try and get my PowerPoint up here. And what's going to happen today, because we're going to have some fun with some simple gifts. Now, once again, not all of you are, but we love to learn from each other. So I see Alice isn't on this one today. She was in with the group on the maker training yesterday. So we have our Facebook group. Just join the group. We don't have a lot of activity in there except when we do our workshops. We have, of course, one coming up on January 25th. You would have seen the first email out this morning. Get those free tickets right away. We know that we have a capacity this time because we're using StreamYard, so we can't take, thousands and thousands of people. We can only take a certain amount. So grab your ticket early. We are on YouTube. It's Bette Makes Media. And right after this, we do have this automatically post to YouTube. We also have a page where we put all of the webinars and the replay links, and you can grab that as well. We'll get into that in a minute or two. On Pinterest, we are Bette Maker Creations. We don't post that often, but we are there. Our blog is betsmakes.com. And of course, we have a Ko-fi shop. And you see all these wonderful posts in Facebook itself. Those all come from Ledley. She is absolutely super. So let's get started. I'm hoping you're going to be able to stay to the end as usual, because there's always question and answer. And I have another treat for you today at the end of the presentation. You're going to love what I'm giving you, but it's just really special. So it's time to load up Cricut Design Space and start a new project. Now, since there are not any new people, I'm just going to skip through this particular slide. Our goal here, of course, is to take you from what you know now to a place that will amaze you in imagining, designing, and creating your own projects. Today, there is no template. We're doing absolutely everything inside of Design Space. So I just want to make sure this is right for you. I will not be offended if you decide to just leave because this is just something you don't want to do or it's too boring. I hope it's not. But don't worry if you have to leave ahead of time. There's always the replay. And if this is not for you, feel free to unsubscribe from everything that we have. All right, let's have a quick overview of what is ahead. We did dingbats and all kinds of things with text last time. And you can get, of course, the replays from the link that I send you. They're all placed on one page. You can also go to YouTube and get on the channel, and you will find all of the replays there under the Live tab. Today, we're doing simple gift ideas on February 5th, and you all have the link ahead of time. I'm sorry about the wrong link that you got, but that's the link we'll use for February 5th. That is going to be on card folding, and we're going to do everything inside of Design Space there as well. I'm going to teach you some things about how to think about card folds and do your own designs, because I notice a lot of people want to do their own designs, and that really makes sense. February 12th, not many people use the debossing tool as much as it could be used, but I have some techniques with it. Now, if I use my Maker 3, I obviously use the debossing tool. If I'm on an Explore, I use my, of course, scoring tool. So we have a few little techniques that we can do there. The scoring tool will outline what you want, and then, of course, we take it over to our demo desk and make sure that it is truly debossed with the scoring tool and just making that a little bit deeper. So there's all kinds of different things we can do. It all has to do with the material setting. So that is that. March 5th, we're going to be doing perforations. Now, as I said, the Maker 3 has a perf tool. It's a really fine perf, but you can do perfs without the perf tool if you don't have the tool or you don't have the machine that can handle it. And March 26th, this was a request and from last week, I do believe. And we're going to do some things with color palettes and coloring things and maybe some ombre and how you can get to it between Design Space and using Canva and a couple of other tools. So that will be on March 26th. So let's get into today's agenda. That's not what we're doing. It's, sorry, it says what we learned today. We're doing simple gifts, where to get the gift ideas. And of course, we're going into Design Space, creating from scratch. And we are going to talk about some outside sources today, Canva, Illustrator, Inkscape, and places that you can get other parts and pieces. So we want to head over to Design Space. I'm just going to remove myself here. What I want to do today is create 3 different projects. Now, some of the materials we are going to use, of course, is going to be, and I'm just taking you over to the demo table for a second. I'm using a cereal box, And this is the nice cardboard for a cereal box. We're going to do that, and we are going to make, if I can find mine that I have glued all together here. We're going to be making a coaster. Now, I make mine pretty small, but you can make yours larger. This is all glued together. There are 3 layers of the cardstock, and then I used a digital paper, just cut a piece out. I actually did this with adding a pattern to the shape, and then did a print, then cut with it, and then cut several things. Now, that is pretty solid. That is got Mod Podge on it, so we did use some Mod Podge here to make this work. So that is one of our projects. And I've got all the pieces for it, and I'll just set those aside. The next one we are going to make, these are bookmarks. Now, I made them out of thinner paper, and you can do both sides if you want, but we're going to make it like a book with a little bookmark. We're making all these shapes all on our own. And that's with a medium cardstock. I just used a plain white one. It's not that a heavy cardstock, but I would suggest maybe craft board for this one. So that is our bookmark. And then we are making a gift tag or a gift card holder. And this has a couple of little things that we're going to be making to make this shut. And I did this on a double-sided paper, as you can see, and how we can fold it in and how we can make these little flaps work for ourselves. But we are going to build all of that from scratch. I have one cut out here that we're going to use a little later. So it just gives you an idea of what we have going. So any questions before we get going on Design Space? Sorry, I'm late. Dog took longer for morning constitutional than normal. I wondered where you were, Alice. All right. Any questions about the 3 things we are going to do here? All right, I want to start with something very, very simple. So let's just click on a new project. Just grab here for our new project here. For our coasters, we're going to start out with some coasters here. So this is going to be fairly simple. Now, these are great gifts because you can add a photo inside. So I'm going to use a hexagon. It doesn't happen in templates, but a 2-inch coaster is not going to work. And the one that I made was 3 inches, and it wasn't big enough either. I'm going to make it a 4-inch coaster. So let's come up here to the size, and let's just make this 4 inches. Now you can vary the size. You can do some test cuts with this. And that's just so that you know the size that you're going to be playing with. Now, what I did with the coaster is, of course, I made 3 of these cuts to make it thick enough out of a cereal box. Junai, hey, hello, and Charlotte, and Barbara, and Deanna, and Kel. Just notice a few people coming in. So I want to cut these out of a cereal box, but I need 3 of them. So I'm just going to hold down my Alt key here. 1, 2, 3. But I need an extra copy because I want to have a pattern or a design going in here. Now, a couple of things you can do, of course, if you want, is you can come up here, and if you want to add a pattern, you can come to Print, then Cut. Then I'm going to click on the color module. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on Pattern. Now, I have uploaded some of the digital papers, and you can do that as well. I have a couple of butterfly ones that I had used in it, but you'll notice that if you can upload these patterns, I've got all kinds of them in here, and you can decide what you want to go on here. Or if you don't want to do that, of course, you can find an image that you want. You can put a face on it, so you can make it very personalized about what you want to have on this one. Now, there are tons of patterns in here, and I'm just scrolling through. And it depends what you want. I happen to like my butterflies, but I have uploaded a few. So maybe I could go with some daisies here. And you'll see how that fills in with the pattern. I don't have to do any cutting. So when you are uploading a pattern, you can do so. But you can also upload a photo in the pattern. So it's a lot easier to come here. Now, most people don't realize that you can do that. Now, I don't have any photos uploaded in the pattern. Let me just click away here. We'll be looking at some of the upload things, but you come over here to pattern fill and you can upload a pattern and simply browse. And now I'm going to see if I've got a photo on my desktop. Let me just, it's not quite a photo, but we'll just put something in here. So I'll pretend this is a photo and I will upload it. Now the pattern is successfully uploaded. I'm just going to make another copy here. So when I come up here and I change this one, of course, to a print then cut, and I come up here, click on the color, come down to pattern, there's my little image right here. And all of a sudden, my photo is inside of my hexagon here for our coaster. So any questions on this one so far? So patterns are one thing. Now, the other way you can do this, of course, is you can just grab a copy of one of these. You can go to your uploads, and if I have a pattern paper in here, or any other pattern that I see. I've got a few in here. I'll just pick one that I've uploaded. You can pick anything you want and just add it to the canvas. Of course, the other way to do this, of course, is I'm going to take the two of those together just like that. I should get both. Yes, on the layers panel I do. I'm just going to click on slice and I can get rid of the extra piece. I now have another pattern and I can get rid of the extra one I did. So now we've got 3 different ways that we can do that. You can do that the same with your photo. Let me just show you one more thing. Let's go to our upload here. I'm going to go back and I'm going to upload the same image that I had as a pattern. If I can find it again. 1, 2, 3. There it is. And this is one of Tika's creations, so it's kind of fun. So I've got this. I'm just going to apply and continue. I'm going to have it as a flat graphic. And I'm going to upload it. And of course, it'll come on my canvas. Now, the difference between doing it as a pattern and doing it this way, what I want to do here is I'm going to take this hexagon and I'm going to arrange it and bring it to the front. Now, I can place this anywhere I want, but what you will notice is that the paper is a lot larger. It may cut things off, so I have to resize this so I get exactly what I want in behind. Now, it takes a little extra work. That's why I like to use mine. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to bring this up here, so I can actually just keep resizing it until I find that I want it exactly the way it should be. So let's just grab those two together, and of course I'm just going to come over here and slice it. Now I can get rid of this one. I don't need it. I can get rid of the background. I don't need it. Well, it's not quite the same, but it's close. So as you can see, uploading as a pattern fill rather than just as an image, you can do it either way. I love being able to fill them up with patterns. And then on the other hand, if I want a specific part of a pattern on one of these, then uploading the pattern as an image and then cutting out the pieces I want works extremely well. So you've got both ways that you can do that. So there's a multiple amount of ways that you can go ahead. All right, I'm going to go ahead and we will just click on Make It. Actually, I want to make sure all of these are print then cut. And they seem to be print then cut, so we're good to go. I just don't want to be able to go through this and go, oh, that wasn't print then cut. It went somewhere else. So we're just going to go ahead and make it. And I might as well save this, and I'll just call it coasters. And I have all kinds of weird little categories here. I'll just put it under my experiments and save it. All right, we're out here on the mat. Now, I'm not too sure if these guys will all fit on one mat, So let's just grab both of these and let's move them object. I'm going to move it to the first one. Now I should be able to fit these in just like that. Look at that. We can fit them all on one page. That is perfect. I don't have to worry about it. I don't like printing two things if I do not have to. And then, of course, this one, I don't think we can fit the 4 on one, but let's go up here like this. But I can make them a little tighter so there's less waste. And this comes up almost a 6-inch piece. Now, this is going to be on a cereal box, so it's really important as we go through this. I'm going to click on continue here. My machine is turned on. Okay. I'll just take a second to do that. All right, so we're going to browse all materials here. And I don't know whether you knew this or not. Just going to, got to learn to spell. Cereal. I'm going to search for cereal. It has a cereal box setting. So I'm going to just grab that and click done. Now, all I have to do here, of course, is the deep point blade. But I want to point out something here. When you have it cut through your cereal box, before you unload the mat, just lift it a bit. If it has not cut through, click on the go button again. That's this button. Click on the go button again. It will reload the mat in the exact position and it'll recut. After it goes through the second process of cutting, if it still doesn't go through, hit the go button again. I found I had to push it through twice for the cereal box I was using, and every cereal box will be different. So just make sure that you do that. That's my other little tip for this one. So let's go over to the demo table, of course, and we're going to start putting some of this together. I'll give you a chance, of course, to go ahead and okay, just one second here. What's going on here? I lost my spot here. Okay, cancel. Go for new here. All right, back to the demo table. Sorry about that. We're having some issues here. So I'm going to move some of these other things off because we're going to play with making this one. I'm going to turn a little extra light on here. Everybody can see everything okay. I'll pull my microphone here a little closer. So I used an almond crunch box, and it's pretty sturdy. It was white on the inside. So this is the one I had to push through twice in order to get a good cut. Now you can have all kinds of other cereal boxes. I had a Cheerios one here this morning. I don't know where it went. There it is. So this one's a bit different than Cheerios box, and it has a brown inside. So let me just open this up. This one had a brown inside. I was lucky enough to find one that had a white, but you can use this color as well because it doesn't really make any difference what the color is, because we're going to go through a process, of course, and put this whole thing together. Now you should have a print and cut on all these designs. I did some butterflies. I also did a test on one. I did it on printable vinyl, but I found that this was shiny on the back side and it wouldn't glue. So it didn't work with printable vinyl. I did this one on printable vinyl, and then of course I flipped it over so that I got the sticky part of that printable vinyl on top. That was really beautiful, but once again I had the shiny side. So I'm not recommending printable vinyl, although it is an option. I just need a different glue. I think that's what it is. And of course I have these ones just printed out of a cardstock I got at Staples. And I've got a couple of patterns here. I've got 2 or 3 that we can play with. And then of course 3 of these pieces that we are going to go ahead and glue together. Now we are also going to seal it. So it's important that you go through this. Now, I don't want this showing on the bottom, this part. So I'm going to put that one down and then this one on top. So that's the first thing I'm going to glue. Now this is fairly slick surface here. So I want to get as close to the edge as possible because when we seal it, there we go. And I'm just going to make sure I got some in the middle here. And these are going to be fairly easy to put together because I just tap them down this way and even them up. Make sure they're straight. Looks pretty good. Now I've got this one other piece, and of course I want the white at the top. So I'll have a white at the bottom and a white at the top. Get some glue in here. And just drop that on. Now that's going to be a fairly thick piece of cereal box. It's 3 layers. And it works out really well because I want to make sure I push those in. There we go. Now I'm going to pick one of these patterns. I've already done a butterfly, so I'm going to do one of these. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put it on top. And I like the glue to ooze out a little bit on the edges. And as when we go to seal it, it's a lot easier to seal. Make sure it's straight. And I probably could have added some extra glue on the inside because when you go to seal this, you might end up with a bubble or 2 coming across the top, but this one seems to have sealed just fine. Now I have a small brush that I'm going to use here. I'll just grab any brush that I have. I've used it for sealant before. Now all you have to do is just take something like Mod Podge or anything else that you have. And just go ahead and just seal it on the top. You're just going to give it a light coat to start. The biggest part here is when you're going to do this, you want to get it as smooth as possible. You could use a sponge, put this on as well. That's just to seal it in. If you have someone's photo on the top here, that's going to be perfect. So this is the more difficult part. We can do the bottom later. Just going to dip this in, and you want to heavily coat each of these edges because you don't want any moisture soaking in here, and I can smooth out the rest of it later. Some nice edges here. Get my fingers out of there. Almost done. All right, now I've got all these edges and I can just clean them up by just adding an extra layer of this over the top. It's getting sticky on my hands. And you can do as many coats as you want. And we would also use the bottom. But right now, I'm just going to lean that up and put my Mod Podge away. And then you end up with some cute little coaster. Get that out of the way. So now we have, of course, you can do the bottom a little later. You want to smooth out the edges. And it's going to take a second or 2 to dry. And then you end up with something like this. And it is pretty solid. It is waterproof at this point with all the Mod Podge on it. So that is our first simple gift. So any questions on this one? I'm just going to show this up here. Thank you, Alice. I really appreciate your help. All right, any questions on that? All right, we are going on to our second project. Yeah, I'm just going to post this one as well. This would be a good use for the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I don't have any of it. No worry about washing with that one. Yeah, you can dip it in there, smooth it out, and it gives you a nice seal. And these are great coasters. Just imagine you can use this as a very simple gift. You can imagine that you're going to someone's house. They've, just had a baby. You have baby pictures, and all the coasters have different baby pictures on them as a cute little gift, or even just as a party. So there's lots of uses for it. And if you have some ideas, please post them in the comments. Does any Mod Podge could be used in it? Yeah, the goal here is to seal it from liquids, and you want to be able to smooth it off or wipe it off. I don't tend to put my coasters in the dishwasher anyway, but there is a dishwasher safe one apparently. I was in Michael's the other day, and there must have been 10 or 12 different types of Mod Podge. They have one for every different little thing going. All right, next up, of course, we are going to be doing our bookmark. And I'll just move this other stuff out of the way so that we can work on that part of it. Now, I just want to show you again what that bookmark is going to look like. And we are going to do several of those. You're going to decide on the size that you want. And these bookmarks are fabulous little gifts as well. You can add patterns on front and back. I like to put a message on the back of mine if I am going ahead and giving these ones out. I have a whole set of zebra pens here that just do a beautiful job. They're Japanese pens. They are just absolutely incredible. I just had to mention them. All right. Love this idea, turning old boxes into something useful, not just creative, but also eco-friendly. Let's give those boxes a second life. Yes, and I find, I buy a lot of craft board, and I thought, why am I not using the cereal boxes we go through? We don't eat a lot of cereal here, but if you buy it at Costco, you can take the bags out and just steal that particular box. It's waterproof, but it is not recommended for dishwashers due to the high heat used in the drying cycle. Could affect the stabilization of the glue. Ah, good to know. Good to know. All right, let's get into our bookmarks. Now you saw an image of what we want to do. So obviously I'm going to use a shape and I'm going to use a free shape. And we may make some adjustments to this shape, but I will show you in just a second. Now I want this to go the other way around. So let me just close this so you can see this. I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees, just so it's facing the right way. Now for width, you can have it as wide as you want. I made mine 2 inches wide. It's pretty big and it's got some places for writing on it. So let's go ahead and just make this width 2 inches. So now we get a bigger size going. Now, what I can do, if I stretch this to make it a lot larger, look what happens to the top. It gets a funny shape. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to Control Z, get it back. So now what I want is something that's 2 inches like this that I can fit in. This one right now is 3 inches high. So if I decided I wanted to have a nice long one, usually we do about 6.5, 7 inches for it. So say we wanted a 6.5 inch one, we want to add another shape. Okay, so let's come back to our shapes. And we want something that may have sort of curves on the bottom, but of course, let's see, we've got a rectangle here, and I think this one has rounded, that's a square. That's a round cornered square. So let's just grab this. Looks like it'll fit in there just fine. And I'm going to unlock it, and I want it to be 3.5 inches high. 3.5. Maybe I'll make it 4 just to be on the safe side here. I'm going to make it 4. So what I want to do is just, it's got curves at the top, so I just need to bring it up a bit. Now I know I'm working with black here, not my favorite color, but I'm just going to grab the two of those together and I'm going to align them and I'm going to center them horizontally so everything fits. So we have 2 shapes here. We have this one, which is called a pennant, and then we have this one, which is a square. So we've got 2 of them. I have them both black right now, but we'll fix that. So now I'm going to grab both of these, going to combine, and I'm going to weld them to make them the shape I want. This gives me the curve I want at the top without stretching it and making it really weird. So you have to see that. Oh, you can't see what we're doing. I'm sorry. Let's go back. I will do that again for you. Get this back into place. I do that on occasion. Okay, so let's go over here. I'll just put it here. This is the shape we're making. We are bringing this one in, and I'm just going to shut the shapes here. I'm just going to do exactly what I did before. We're going to rotate this 180 degrees. Too many cameras. Now, you'll notice that we have this one as a 2.5 inch wide. We will just leave it as that. But if I wanted it to be a bit bigger, longer, I just want to show you once again here, and I'm sorry I didn't show. If I drag this down to the shape I want, look what happens to the top. It gives a really weird curvature, and I don't want that. So I'm going to Control Z. Now I have this set to what I want. So what I did here to make this shape happen, and I'm just going to change that to a pinkish color. Drives me nuts having to work with the black ones. Make this one blue. Now you'll notice that this is a little bit wider. I made that one a little bit wider. So let's make this one a little bit wider. So we have a height. Let's make this 2 inches wide. And there we go. We've got approximately 3. So what I want to do here is go back to my shapes, and I'm going to the square that has the rounded edges. Now we know that this is 2 inches wide already. We can tell by our size here. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to make the height here 4.5 inches. And let's change this to blue. There we go. Now you'll notice if I click away, we've got rounded corners top here and top here, and also on the bottom. Well, I want the rounded corners on the bottom, but not necessarily at the top. So I'm just going to bring this up a little bit. And let me just check here. Let's just grab this together. So right now my height is 7.31. What if I went 6 inches high? It has changed the width. So, but that is fine. So I'm going to have it 6 inches high. I'm going to unlock this and change this to 2. And now I have the perfect shape that I want, but it's in 2 different pieces. So let me just grab the 2 of these together. I'm going to click on Combine and Weld. Now I have a 6 inch by 2 inch bookmark, and this one is 6.7, so it's a lot larger, but we're not going to be using this one, so let me just delete this one. So we have a nice bookmark all set, but we need to do a lot of things inside here yet. First things first, I'm going to make a copy of it. We're going to use that copy a little later, and then I'm going to make another copy of it. And it's in behind, so let's arrange it and bring it to the front. Now what I want to do with this is I want to shrink this by, say 1/4 inch. So I'm going to make this 1.75, and you'll notice how it shrank into place right here. Now it fits perfectly here, and I can bring this all the way down, but it's going to make a change. So let's undo what I just did. So what I want to do is kind of fit this into place, but I need it a bit longer. So I am going to unlock this, Instead of a height of 5.25, I'm just going to make this 6.25. We're going to get a little bit of a curvature at the top and not too much. So let's center this together. Arrange, and we are going to center. And that's because this is going to be the outside of the book. Now I have them both selected. I'm going to slice. All right, we can get rid of our center here, and our center here, and our extra piece here. Now that looks great. We've got an outline part. This is part of our book. You see over in the demo table, that's the blue part that you see right here. It goes all the way around. So we're going to do some more things with it now. Now you notice I had some lines inside there. So I'm going to grab a score line right here. And I'm going to, instead of, let's see, maybe I'll make this score line 5 inches. And I just want to make sure. Now I can decide how many of these little lines that I want. So let's do 10 of these. So I'm just going to duplicate them like this, 10 of them. We've got 1, so we need 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, what I want to do, I'm just going to move this out of the way. I'm going to grab all of these together. I'm going to change them from score to cut. And then I'm going to align, and I want to align them to the top. Now they're pretty wide. I'm going to group them so it's easier to work with. All right, let's bring this back over here. And I'm just going to place the first one where I want it. I'm going to grab this group. All I want to do is I'm just going to move them into place right here. And as you can see, I now have the images or the lines for my book without too much fuss. All right, I'm going to leave this together like this right now. And what I want to do, I know what I want to do. I want to change these to a pen line. And I want to change the color. It can be black. It can be anything. It's just that I have this real thing. Let's make it turquoise. So it kind of matches. So let's just group that together. All right, now we can add some decor to it. So I put a little heart in my other one up here. You can put a star. You can put anything that you want as a design. So let me just grab my little heart here. Let's change it to red like I had before. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so we can see what we're working with. I'm going to grab this, just shrink it down. Place it in the middle. Just make sure it's centered. Line center horizontally. There we go. I'm going to group that as well. That's just so I don't move things. Now the other part is you want a little hole inside for a tassel, or you can leave it as is. So I need a circle, and I want this at 0.25 with 0.25. An extra number in there, 0.25. And I'm just going to bring it down here. And of course, I want to center it here across horizontally as well. And then the thing I want to do with this, of course, is I want to take the heart, grab here, I'm going to grab the heart, and I'm going to grab the circle, and I'm going to slice it. Then I can get rid of the 2 little holes here. Perfect. Now, one last thing I need to do. Now, it's got a hole in it. It's going to slice in it, but if I do a print then cut with this, that hole's not necessarily going to stay there. So let me just go Control Z for now. Let's zoom back out. I want to show you one more thing that we need to do. I'm going to change this to white. And then I'm going to place it in behind. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure, and I'll make sure this is all aligned. I'm going to center it with that. Perfect. The white behind doesn't print, but it allows these lines to draw, and you cut the outside, and it's not going to cut all the outside edges. So last little thing, there's a couple of ways we can do this. I want to cut that little hole out, and I can flatten it and make that happen. So let's just grab this again. And oh, we have a slice result here. Okay. We've already got it sliced in there. Interesting. But it doesn't slice through the back one. So I'm going to have to take this and the basic cut one. I know it sounds complicated, but you have to make sure that you've got everything taken care of, or you can cut it by hand, and I can slice that out of there as well. And now I know I put this to the front, and we can just drag it down here. And there we go. Now I can just grab this out here, and you'll see that we have the hole in it, which is important. So Control Z. So let's get rid of our little holes that we created. We have the slice result. So now we have our perfect bookmark. You can add text. You can do all kinds of different things with it. What you want to do, of course, is flatten this. It will still cut the hole in the center. And now you can cut out as many of these as possible. And you have a cute little bookmark with a bunch of lines. Now let's just go back over to our demo table here. And inside that demo table, of course, we have all of those things that we are going to go ahead and use. Now, when you cut these out, you want to make sure that it is on a thick enough cardstock that you're not going to worry about. This one is fairly thick, but take what your printer can do. It's just a lot of fun. And of course, the hole is going to cut out by itself. Now on mine, I just added another little design at the bottom. You can do that if you wish. You can add tassels, any kind of thing through that hole, or you can eliminate the hole whatsoever. Okay, any questions on the bookmark? None so far? All right. We are going to make another little item. And of course, on the demo table, I would just show you what that is. I'm just going to remove our bookmark. So we have two nice little gifts now. We are going to make a third one. And it has a little tab. There's no glue involved with this one whatsoever. It is simply a shape that we are going to create with a little tab at the top and two little tabs at the bottom. And it's going to be really adorable when we make it. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go back over to Design Space. And I made sure I switched my camera this time. So this is supposed to be a book looking from the end. Yes, it is, Roseanne. That was the whole idea. I just want to show you how to do lines and squish those together and, you know, get the number of lines that you want for. You could do that for line paper, anything. You can make it wider, narrower. You just have to know the number of lines you're going to work with and how to put them in and making sure you've got a backing so things cut out the way you want. All right, our last little project here. I know I'm taking a lot of time, but this is a lot of fun because we are going to be making a cute little item here, and it's going to be a lot of fun putting some shapes together here. So let's grab some shapes. I'm going to be using, I think I'll use the oval for this one, and then we can decide on sizes. So I need an oval. Let's change that color. Make it a nice gold color right now. I'm just going to make it bigger so we can see what's going on. I'm just taking a look. Okay, so we have a width of 3. Let's make this even. So I'm going to make this 3 and the height of 2.2 4, 6. It's going to be pretty small. Okay, so let's make the height a little different. Let's make the height, we've got in here 2.2. Let's make the height 3. And the reason is you're going to determine what size of gift card you want to put in. The one we have over here on the demo table, well, it is fairly big. So it's going to hold a notepad, a note, something to stick it in. But we can make it a lot smaller if we want. But I'm going to stick with this particular size as we go ahead and make this particular one. And that is our model right now. So let's just grab our ellipse here. I'm going to Alt and duplicate it. And it's going to come out the side here. So I need 1 and 1 going this way. And I'm going to do a copy. So let me just pick the two together. And we're going to make a copy of it. And we are going to go ahead and rotate that just so we have the top and bottom all ready to go. So I want this one at 90 degrees. So I have a nice mess on my screen. So I've got the 4 edges that I'm going to be working with, and I'm just going to slide them up and out of the way for now. Let me just move these down so I've got room to work here. So we've got the 4 edges we want. The next thing we have to determine is the size of what we're going to be working with. And of course, we're going to need a square. Let me just grab a square in here. So this is going to be the size of the internal part of what we want to have. And of course, I made mine 5 inches that I was working with. So let me play with a 5-inch one. Actually, I'm going to make it 3 inches this time just to see what we get here. It's not big enough for me, so let me change that to 5. So I've got a nice big one I'm going to work with, and then I can adjust these sides as I need. All right, so let me get this from black. I'm just going to make it blue for now. Now, there's a couple of things that we need to do here. And of course, is putting all of this together so things are going to fit. So if I bring this one into the center here, as you can see, it's not hitting the top or the bottom. So all I need to do here is from that center piece, I'm going to drag these down. So I've got exactly what I need. Let me just shut this for a second. And of course, I'm going to bring this to the center. It's really nice. We've got this X in the middle, so I can kind of line it up with the edge. It looks pretty good. Now, those are the side flaps, and being halfway through is perfect for a side flap. There's nothing else I need to do with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this square. I'm going to hold down the Alt key because I'm going to need this for a couple of other things that are going to go on here. So we have these 2 pieces ready. Really easy, combine, and of course weld. We have a nice piece going here. Now we have a problem here because we have the top and the bottom. Now they have to be longer because we want some flaps inside of these. So let me just take my little item here. And I'm just going to make a copy of it. I don't want a copy of that. So let me just delete that. Where did my box go? Here it is. Let's bring it to the front so I can see it. Okay, I'm going to take this and just put it off to the side. Now we have the top and the bottom. If I went halfway through, they would only meet in the middle. So I obviously need to make these a little bit bigger. So I am going to bring this down. And as you can see, I am making it fairly large. And it's coming down to about 3/4 of the size. Now, if I unlock this, I'm going to be able to then match up with the size of the square. And let me just check the size here. So width should be 5. Perfect. Now I can move this to the center. Now I am not doing anything with this right now because we're going to have to start matching things up. Now we had made a copy of one here. So I'm just going to delete this one and take the big one and make a copy of it. It is going to come down to the side here. That looks pretty good. Now, you know we're going to be folding these over and making a little slit. And we also need to have a way of putting score lines, and that's why I needed the extra box here. So first things first, we want to be able to have all of these different pieces. So let me just grab this. I want to just move it out of the way for the moment. So we can see how far that one goes in. I'm going to grab this last one at the bottom. I'm going to arrange it and bring it to the front. So this is where we are going to be able to have matching pieces here. So if I cut a hole in this piece right here, I'm going to be able to see it through when I go to make my slits. And that's before I weld anything else together. So I'm just going to move this out of the way so that I'm working with these two pieces only. So I need another shape. And let's make it a slit that looks like this. I'm going to change that color, of course. I want it back. Let's make it blue. And I think it's on top. It is. Okay, so I want to squish this down and maybe make it 1/2 inch. Is that the width I want? It's 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's okay. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's make it 0.75, and that's so I can see it a little better. And of course, I want to rotate it, and I want to rotate it 90 degrees. I'm showing you a little cheat on how to do this. So I'm going to make a copy of this because I'm going to need this. And I'm going to decide where I want it in here. So let me place it right about here. Maybe down a little bit. That's where I'm going to want to have it. So I'm going to click on it and shift click the bottom one here. And of course, I want to make sure it is aligned. Now this one is a little more difficult, and I know I'm taking a little bit of time here. So I'm just going to slice this. And I have my little hole, so I see my little hole come through here. And now I'm going to change the color of this back one just so we can see what's happening here. I'm going to make it green. As you can see, I have my hole perfectly placed. Now, the other part and parcel of it, of course, is I want the little flap to go in. If I go over here to the demo table, I need to match up these little flaps to match. And this hole has to match up with it. So we know that it's going to come through into the end for the pieces. So it's the two end pieces. So I have to flip those around to make sure they match. So I have a couple of little tricks that I'm going to do here. Now, right now, I want to have, this is going to come up. I don't want to destroy what we have here. So I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to group it. Right now, I just want to make a copy. Come on, give me a copy. There we go. And so if I mess up, at least I have something I am working with here. All right, so let me ungroup this. So now I want to match things up. So let me just grab these two. And of course, I'm going to align these, and I'm going to align them center so that I can see my little green piece all the way through. Now, what I want to do is I want to then slice out something on the other side, but I just want to have two lines here and then something around the outside that's going to make the wings for the little flaps. So because I have this lined up, I am able to see what I'm going to match up here, and that is the important part. All right, so let me grab our little line here, and if the operation is score, that's fine. And I'm just going to, let me just eliminate this for a second. I want to just make it smaller here. Doesn't matter how big we have the score line. And I just want to come over and place it slightly in don't know if you can see this or not. If I got that extra piece, I'm going to push it down. Let me just zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. That should be a little bit better. So I have a score line that's going here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm just going to put it on the other side. All right, we have a score line on both sides. That is perfect. Oh, why did it not want to stop where I asked it to? There we go. I'd have to take this one. Okay, let me grab my score lines from over here on the layers panel, and I'm going to align them to the top just so that they're together. All right. Now we want, of course, two little flag sides here that we're going to use. So I'm going to grab one of our little shapes and I'm going to bring it to the front. And I am going to rotate it 90 degrees. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to bring this over and decide how big do I want these flaps. Now, I'm going to have to cut off some pieces. Now, I think I'm going to make them just a little bit wider to fit in here. That looks good. And I'm going to need two of them, and they are going to cut in place on the other side. But I only want a small cut line. So let's just grab this. I'm going to now duplicate it. This is just putting some of the things together. Let me just grab this here and let's make it green so I can see the one in the back. Now what I want to do is then, of course, the one on the front, I want to make it just slightly smaller. And then I'm going to put it in the center here. It's not quite okay. So let's align this center. I'm just going to go through here and I'm going to slice. Now I have my little cut line that I want to use, but I don't want the entire thing. I need to cut off the bottom piece. So I have this extra little piece here. I'm going to grab this like this. Now when I take those together, I'm going to slice them. Now I have my little open shape that I want. I can get rid of all of this stuff. Now I have my little flap that I can put in here. And I can match it up to that score line. I'm going to Alt, make a copy on the other side. And of course, I need to flip that. And then bring it in. Sorry, I'm going to bring it in here. Nope, I want to get rid of this right now. Let me just move this out of the way so we can see what we're doing here. And bring that in. So it matches up with the score line. Can you see what I've done here? All right, we have scores in that. So let me just grab, oh, don't touch that, Bette. I want to come out here. I want to come out here and just grab all of that together. And of course, I want to attach that. Perfect. Okay, let's zoom back out. So that is probably the most difficult piece that we were working on here. So we have the exact size and place that we need these things. So what I'm going to do is come up here and I'm going to match this inside here. So I'm going to take those two and I'm going to align to the top and we are going to center horizontally. Perfect. Now I'm going to take this one and I have to flip it because I want it on the bottom. So flip vertical. And let's see. Just grab this. Oh, don't move things. Okay, I'm going to grab this whole unit here. I'm just going to bring it over a little more so that I can see it. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to bring this down. Now what I want to do is align this one to the bottom. Line bottom. There we go. And I want to make sure everything is aligned horizontally. Perfect. I can get rid of this guy here. Now, if you take a look, you see this has got the hole in it. You got a couple of squares. You've got your basic cut here, and everything's working perfectly. Now, we have some extra things here. So let's go down to this group. We have the two originals. We have this one, and we have an extra oval here. Now, that extra oval is in behind. I am going to delete it. So I have this piece, and now we have one in behind here, which is, let's see, is this the one with the basic hole? No, the hole is above. And we are going to delete that one as well. And now you can see through, you can see both of those pieces. All right, my job right now is to go ahead and select all of those and weld them together. And of course, I'm going to click on it and arrange it and send it to the back. And that weld took the other piece. Okay, so let's Control Z, Control Z. We want to be able to weld these pieces together, but we have attached this up here. So let me go ahead and detach. And we only want to pick the oval and the other oval, like that, the two pieces. That is what I want to weld together. And then, of course, now I can click on it, arrange it, and send it to the back. And I should have my two holes in place, and I do. All right, we are getting there. Now we have the center piece. And now what I want to do is just grab all this together. I'm going to align and center. That looks pretty good, except this didn't fit. So let's go Control Z once again. Okay, I want to just hold this together. Let me just attach that. Now I can align it. There's a lot of playing around inside a design space. We can hit that center part, and everything looks pretty good there. Now, once again, it is just in a group, so I don't want to pick those. I want my middle piece, and I want my bottom piece. I'm sorry if this is getting complicated. I want to combine, and I want to weld, and then I want to click on it, and then I want to arrange it and send it to the back. And now I have my two cuts inside there. So now I can grab all of this and I can attach it. Perfect. That's the card. Now we're going to add some more to the attach. Remember the square? So we're going to take one of these squares and we're going to bring it to the front, and we will center that as well. Everything else is attached. So we are going to align and center. That's perfect. That's going to be our first score line that we have. And of course, we need a square that's slightly bigger. So I want to arrange and bring this to the front. I'm just going to change the color a little bit so that we can see what we're doing here. And I want to have a 1/4 inch larger all the way around. So over on my sides, I'm going to make this 5.25. Now once again, I want to take this together. I want to align and center. Now I'm going to take both of these and I'm going to change those to score lines. So we have our score lines all set. This gives us a little 1/4 inch in between here. So when we fold it over, we actually have space to put something inside. And then finally, I'm going to take this and I am going to attach it. And we now have our gift card holder. Now you may have to go through and do this a few times. So now what we want to do, of course, is go ahead and make this. I am going to save this one because it takes a lot of work, and I'm just going to call it gift card holder. And I'm going to make this a card and save it. Perfect. At least one of you is larger than 11. Yes, we know that. Okay, so we're going to click OK. So the size of this, it wants to come up with, of course, it's at 14 inches. So if I go ahead and cancel this, what you can do with this, let's just see what happens if you do a 45-degree rotate. Now, am I getting the width here and the length here? So I'm going to just move this over and see what I get. I get 10, and of course I get less than 11.5. So that 45-degree tilt really makes a difference. So if you can go at 45 degrees, you only need a 12-inch mat. So I hope that helps with everybody. So we know we can do it with it tilted. Now let's hope that when we go ahead and do this, let's grab this. It comes with a size like this. I want it to go the other way. So let's see if we detach things or attach, and go ahead. I'm going to detach here. Everything is detached. Okay, have I got everything? Select all. Yes, we have everything. Let's attach it now. And you'll see that the placeholder now is straight up and down. And look at our size here, width 10.455, 10.455. So just by angling it, you have to detach everything. And a lot of people don't tell you, you move it to the side and it still wants a longer mat. By, making it 45 degrees, it makes it a lot of ease in getting it and fitting it on a mat. So now if I go to make it, of course, it fits on my 12 by 12 mat exactly the way I wanted it. So I can get a larger cut. So look at this. I still have, an inch, almost an inch. I could have made this a little bit bigger if I had wanted to, just because of the angling. All right, we've already saved this, so I'm going to go to continue. It is going to come up with my Maker 3. I should attach the other one. It's just taking its time. It's giving me the blue signal there. Now, I cut mine out of a medium cardstock. Now, what you can use a pattern paper, two-sided pattern paper. That's what I did. I have a lot of those around. I used to buy the stacks and all kinds of different things with thicker paper. So you can go ahead and do that and cut that out. All right, let's head over to the demo table, because hopefully when you fold everything up, it is going to work for you. And that is the important part of what we want to do here. All right, we are over here at the demo table. Can we see this? Yes, we can. All right. So I had put two of these together. The biggest issue here with this is folding these score lines, because they are double score lines. So you want to have this thickness. Can you see the thickness here? Let me just move this up a bit. You can see that is a double score line to create the thickness of the box. And it's only a 1/4 inch, so it's not that big. And it is on all 4 of these corners. Now, depending on the thickness of your paper, it's going to be a little tougher. So, use something like a bone folder, or you can use one of your Cricut scrapers or anything like that. Now, it's pretty obvious where your tabs are going to be and where the hole is. So let's see, I think I folded this to the inside. So here are your smaller ones. They might meet in the middle. It doesn't really matter. Those go in first. And then, of course, you want to fit in the one that has the 2 little flaps. And the 2 little flaps you made have the score line in the center and this in the middle. And then when you fold this one down, it will fit through, and then you go ahead and you have this gorgeous little gift card holder. Then it's, what else you can do with it, of course, is you can cut out more squares and greetings and things to fit right in. You already know this is a 5 by 5, so you can fit anything in. I have this heart sitting over here. I don't think it'll quite fit. It's a little bit big, but you can do that. Add a slit to it. Go ahead. You can make this, of course, for your gifts. You can throw in a couple of your coasters that we made today inside, and then fold it up and in. And it is a great little way. So those are 3 little gifts that we could make today. And we have, of course, the gift card holder, which took us the longest time. We have our easy to make coasters, and of course our easy to make bookmarks. Now, I know I took a lot of your time today, but it's been a lot of fun for sure. Let me go back to our PowerPoint, and now I can see what everybody is having to say. I have my back to you when I'm doing the demo, so I'm so glad that someone mentioned I wasn't inside of Design Space. And we'll have to make this one on the replay. Very complicated, but it's all in Design Space. And what I wanted to teach you today is you can create your own things. You don't have to rely on everybody to buy templates. You can use templates as guidelines and then figure things out and do test cuts with just copy paper and cut them out and try them out and measure. But it is so easy to make these simple gifts. Now, you can do these on the fly once you get used to it. The bookmarks are easy. The coasters are easier. But this little gift card holder, I thought I would bring that to you just to show you that you can do everything you want inside. And of course, one of the big things that I found, and I'm just going to click over in Design Space here, is, let me just go back here. Let me just hit cancel on this one. I'm just going to cancel the cut. Is just changing the angle of something is going to allow you to cut something out bigger than if you had it straight up and down, and how to do that. That was an important part for me. All right. I didn't talk a lot about Canva, but you can create these all inside of Canva as well, Illustrator or Inkscape. I preferred to show you how to do it in Design Space because you already have it if you have a Cricut cutting machine. I have a 5x5 birthday card I was going to make an envelope today. Well, there you go. You have it. You have your perfect little closing for it as well. So any questions? I know everybody is here and we want to be able to get all the different things with you. I know it's a little complicated, but I want to make sure you get that replay. You will see it on YouTube. It gets posted almost automatically. I will post it inside of the community as well and send out an email for everybody that is on the list to get to that replay page. All right, so that was simple gifts. February 5th. Now, you may be wondering, why are we skipping a week? Well, next week, of course, is our workshop. And I name it Aurora Borealis and Boxes. It's all about boxes. You will have received the email for that today already. Please register. I'm going to be cutting the registration off on this one. It's because I want to be able to help everybody as we go through. And if you get too many people, that really doesn't work that well for me. Thank you both for information always. All right, and then of course debossing and March 5th perforations. I still have TBD here, but we are going to do some color things. Thank you for the suggestion. All right, one other thing here, of course, and Tika's not here, so she's left me with doing all of this. There it is. I'm getting smarter with this. This is our digital paper kit. You can see December and January here. I'm working on the project for February right now, and I am in love with what Tika has designed. And she was working on March yesterday, all kinds of Celtic knots. Oh my God, she's coloring these all in by hand. She's drawing everything by hand on these. So these digital kits are less than $2 a month. It is $19 for the full year. So please take advantage of these. This is how we help pay for a lot of the stuff that we're doing. And we didn't want to charge you an arm and a leg to get there. So that is our digital kits. Now, let's see, where is my PowerPoint here? There we go. Now, here is my gift to you today. I made these. I was so excited. I did 8 papers here. These are my own digital papers. They are called vintage wallpaper. And we used one today on the coasters. So I just made these, and you will find that they are a lot of fun, but it is vintage wallpaper. So there are 8 of them, and you can use those as extra digital papers that you want on anything you want. This is free for you. And of course, I love to give away something free each time we do that. So this one is by me. Tika is, of course, very busy with everything that she wants. And I better put the banner up here. She's not here to do it for me. So that is our wallpaper. And all you need to do is go to betsmakes.com/wallpaper. It should automatically download for you right away. And if you have clicked on that right now, I just want to know if, wish I had a printer so that I could take advantage of the digital kits. Yeah, sometimes you do need a printer, but you can, yeah, print then cut, I guess, becomes a problem for you as well, Sheila. You need to have a printer in order to do print then cut, which is unfortunate. So you are just stuck with the straight cut things, but you can cut it on papers that you already have. You can, of course, take the digital papers to any place that has print copying, and they will print out pages for you as well. So there is that option. All right. So has anybody done the downloaded the wallpaper yet? I just want to know if it downloaded okay. Got them. They're pretty. Oh, fantastic. I'm so happy about that. All right. I just want to thank everyone for being here. And I'm just going to go back here to our digital kits. Let's go to our banners here. Digital kits. Please make sure you grab those, and I will see everybody. I guess our next one, if you are in on the training, we have session 3 happening for text and images going on Tuesday. That is if you bought the Ultimate Cricut Toolkit. People that own that, we get that maker training, and paid members get that maker training. So we have that next Tuesday. Next Wednesday, there is not a webinar. And of course, on the 25th, we have our workshop. So hopefully we will be able to see you at the workshop or on our training next Tuesday. Thanks, everyone. I've really enjoyed being here, and I'm sorry for going over for about 20-25 minutes, but I think we needed to do something a little extra when it came to creating those simple gifts. Bye for now.